Hold on a sec there, Mike. Can anybody tell me what the crucial thing is that I forgot? Hey, welcome back to another episode of Maintenance with Mike. So today, this is video part 2 of the Homelite Super 2 with the broken bar stud, or stripped bar stud. I've received the new bar stud with the new nut. It's identical to the one that came out, except for this one's stripped and this one's not. Also received 2 air filters for the carburetor. As you saw in the first video, those were not existent. So we are going to, it's all cleaned up. I bared you the expense of watching that. Just some good brake clean and some scrubbing. All the parts are cleaned up. We have cleaned up the plug and checked the gap on that. So we're going to put it all back together now and hopefully it fires up. So let's get started. Okay, so where we left off when I was able to pull it out of this case was I took the brake apart and that allowed me to slide it out. I think to get started on it now, we're going to take this rubber glove and cut it off of the carburetor. I'm going to put the new foam filter in there. We'll put the plug back in and tighten it up. We'll slide it back in this case and see if we can get the brake put back on. So let's get going. Okay, so we're going to cut this tie wrap off. Probably end up cutting the rubber glove a bit, but that's okay. That's what it was there for. And that was just to keep the carburetor from getting any more gunk in it than it already had. I'm just going to get a clean piece of paper towel. I'm kind of from the school of leave well enough alone. I mean, this thing was operating with, you know, it was probably sucking in a little bit of gunk. While it was running, obviously. But that looks fairly clean in there, surprisingly enough. Let you have a look at that. So we're going to put the foam air cleaner on there, the new one. So you can see how well that new air cleaner fits on there. We're going to keep the spare one here in the box. We'll put that away somewhere with a Sharpie. We'll write on it what it's for. So now, I guess the next thing would be to slide it back into this case, which is where we took it out from. Actually, let's do the spark plug can't go back in yet. We remember that. Can't go back in until it slides back through the case because it comes out on the side. Pull that wire back out of there. I've got it kind of wrapped around. I think the best thing to do is pull this back out a bit. Unfortunately, got a bit ahead of myself here. This wire here which is the run and kill switch, has to come down this side. And the spark plug wire has to go through there too. It's definitely a finicky fit, but you can get it. And then we put our kill wire back on the lead here on the, I guess that's the coil. So that allows us to shut it off. So we attach that wire back. That's our on-off. That's pretty tight there. Man, maybe we should have that pass underneath here. Keep it a little bit looser. There we go. That's better. We don't need any wires that are piano tight. Okay. So there's that. Back in there. Now it allows you to put the spark plug back in. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. That's how I was always taught anyway. We don't have to go crazy with this. Just snug, so it doesn't rattle itself loose. Now the next step. Ooh. Hold on a sec there, Mike. Can anybody tell me what the crucial thing is that I forgot? I didn't put the new bar stud bolt in. So, let's take the spark plug back out. And pull it back out of the case. Take our wire back off. Well, we're definitely learning how to assemble this fairly quickly, aren't we? Pull it back out of the case. This is where we need to tap in that new bar stud. If you remember that, it goes right in through here. So I'm hoping I can tap it in without having to press it in. I guess it might be a tap in. Ooh, it's pretty tight. We're going to take our little hammer and just tap that gently. Try not to hit the carb. Yeah, it's going down. Good, good, good. So if we, that's the old bolt. That's the new nut. So if we put this up underneath here, that'll allow that bolt to keep going. Let's take our screwdriver and see if we can tap that all the way down. Yeah, nice. There we go. There's the new bar stud. There's the tensioner. Excellent. So that's all the way down in there now, just how we want it. Now we can put it back into the now we can put it back in the case. So now we're back to square one again. So the new bar stud is mounted. Let's put that new nut on there just so we don't lose it. And we got to put keep this coil wire for the on-off over here. Feed the spark plug wire through. There's that. Coil wire goes under here. Attaches to here. Hey, they couldn't have made that wire any longer, eh? The fire is not quite warm enough yet in here. Fingers are still a little cold. There we go. So there's the kill wire connected again. Okay, so we put the plug back in, the wire back in, the disconnects for the shutoff is connected. Let's see if we can remember how this brake system went all back together here. This thing went around the clutch somehow here. Somehow meaning like this. So basically you put the spring around the clutch and you push this brake back and it drops into like a little collar here that we have to put a bolt through. So now the question is, do I remember which bolts are for which? I may have to go back and watch my video. But this one had a washer on it. I want to say this one is the one for up here. Because it looks like it's got some wear around that brake from the washer. And this one here, I thought was the one that had the movable washer, not the one with the actual collar. I want to remember, I don't know if this is the right bolt. I remember taking this bolt off before the brake, so I was right. It's the large flat blade bolt that goes at the top of the brake here, and the one here was the one without the built-in collar. So I was correct, but it's nice to have a video that you can check, and it's nice to have YouTube to go back and see how these things are done. Snug that one up. And we'll snug this one up. So the spring's back on, the brake piece is back on, and then I think just prior to that, I took this piece off. And I think there's some adjustment that has to happen here on the bar. Yeah, I've got that wrong. Which is going to make it even more fun to... Oh, can I sneak that? Nope, got to take it right off, unfortunately. So the only way it's going to work is if this piece goes over top of the brake, and then it locks in there, right? It can slide down. That locks the brake. This holds it to use the saw. Now you can see when you're using the saw, that's when it locks it, and then this basically is in run now. Stops the chain, gets it going again. Okay, so there's that back on. So that's good. Got our little filter in on the carb still, which is good. I was thinking about oiling that filter with a little bit of the K&N oil. I don't think I'm going to. I don't know. I'm going to try it for a bit like this, dry, and see how it looks. I'll have to take it apart again to check the underside of the filter to see if it's actually drawing anything through it, but I think we're going to go with leaving it dry for now. Maybe put something in the comments if you think I should have oiled that with some K&N filter lube, or if I should just leave it the way it is. Like I said, I'm not going to run it too much, but any feedback would be awesome. So now we need to connect. That's the choke. We need to connect that linkage. And I'm thinking I may had to have done that prior to now. Okay, so that was a long process. So before you put the kill switch in, and before you put the brake bar on and the clutch piece all in there, the linkage for the throttle, that has to be clipped into the throttle side as you're sliding this whole thing in. You leave this side out on an angle, and you can just get the top throttle linkage in. So there you go. So you got to do that first. Then you can put the brake and all that back on. There. Now we're back to where we were now, but we actually have a throttle. So that's good. Looks like some case bolts can go in. Need a new ball bearing in my 1/4-inch extension here. Don't know when I lost it, but I'll just snug these up lightly. And then I think these bolts are going to be the handlebar. One of them is a handlebar bolt, which is probably that flat blade. And then I thought something goes back on here. So this goes around like this. Choke. That's a little plastic guard. I guess you could get to the air filter without taking the side case off by just removing this plastic guard here to change it. I don't know if that's might be an option. We got one extra bolt here that, so that's the handlebar bolt. It's that one. So top, bottom, there and there. One, 2, 3, and one up front here. I missed one in here. So there's 4 case bolts and the one handlebar bolt. So we got them all. Okay, so spark plug's in, that's torqued. Brakes working properly. We've got our stud in there now, our new stud, which is beautiful. We're going to back off this chain adjustment screw a little bit. Now, the last piece here is this case. And there's lots of gunk underneath these threads here. Nice little cork seal still. So that is your fuel mix there. We'll do the same on this one here. We'll loosen this off a bit. Whoa. Not that much. And just run a toothbrush around these threads. They build up sawdust, right, from running the saw. And then when you want to fill things up, you end up getting saw in your fuel. So let's pop this side on here, and then we'll tighten up all those other screws. Put our bar bolt in here, or our handlebar bolt, we'll call it. Ouch. Handlebar bolt. Make sure all these ones sort of line up nice. Turn them backwards until you hear the click. Start that one. Start that one. I don't know if you can hear that audible. I sure hope you can, because as you turn it backwards, you can hear that thread drop into the hole. That is one of the ways to not cross thread. Nice fire going today. It's probably at least 10 or 12 degrees in here now. It's nice, really nice. Noel would be happy. Noel garden tractors. Noel's garden tractors and firewood would be happy about today's fire. Okay, now we tightened all those case bolts up, but we're just going to check them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to check the Torx bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we know the clutch bolt was tight, and so was the brake bolt already. And I think that is all the pieces back together. Okay, so let me turn this off for you. We are going to splash a bit of fuel in this thing now, and take it outside and fire it up. And then I'll get the bar cleaned up and the chain on, and maybe we'll show you some of that as well. But that is the Homelite Super2 SL all back together with its new stud bar bolt. Pretty happy about that. I guess this way while we're running it, also we could put oil in the thing and make sure oil comes out of this little reservoir here, little venturi here, to make sure we're getting oil to the chain. So let's go outside. So it's full of gas and full of oil. What I do on this one is, hopefully you can see that, there's a little choke all the way up. There's 2 clicks, an indent here. So I go full choke because there's no primer bulb. Make sure it's turned to run. I go full choke until it burps or tries to fire, and then I click it down to this setting and then let it warm up. So we'll do full choke. The disadvantage of no primer bulb, eh? So full choke. So click it back 1. There she is. Just like a top this thing. Brakes working. You can see, the clutch? See how it's turning? Great little saw. There's 2 throttle points for delimbing. You throttle here, or you can throttle up here. If you're holding it up here, like with one hand, right? We'll just let it warm up a little bit, and then we'll shut it off. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little bit of oil coming out of the port. So that's good. Thanks for watching another episode of Maintenance with Mike. That is the repair of the bar stud on the Homelite Super2 SL. Not a very difficult job. I feel a homeowner could do this themselves. Same sort of principles apply for any sort of residential saw, I would think. The larger commercial saws, the bar studs and that are quite a bit different. But yeah, not too tough of a job all in all. So if you like these videos, maybe consider subscribing to the channel. Maybe share them with a family member or friend. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.